Hola, clase de Trinity. I made a short reading and I'm going to talk about that. And it's good to read it and read it a few times. The more you read it, the better, in a sense. So, just as a review from the last class, from what I can remember, is that we talked about some greetings in Spanish. And one of those greetings was good morning, which is buenos dias. Buenos dias. And then we had the good afternoon, which is buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. And then we have the good evening. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. So buenos dias, then buenas tardes, buenas noches. And we also talked about how to say, how are you in Spanish, which is, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? To answer that, you can say bien or muy bien. Or if you're just so, we say more or less, más o menos, más o menos, which means more or less. And if you were bad, not doing well, you could say mal. Okay, so we've got ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, bien, más o menos, mal. And remember, to make that formal, just drop the S off and you have ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Or you can put the usted in there, which is ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Cómo está usted? And that's just a little greeting. And if somebody says ¿Cómo está? Or ¿Cómo está usted? You can answer Estoy muy bien. ¿Y usted? And you, ¿y usted? Or if it's informal, ¿y tú? And you. So that's pretty much some basic greetings that we talked about. Now we're going to look at this reading, and it's fine to read it without the video a few times, but if you want to hear it, uh, please feel free to listen. And I'm going to get this little pen. I don't know how this works, but I'll try it. I'm going to get the green pen for fun. All right, so we'll start here and then we'll read. Hay tres chicas y una mujer. Hay un elefante, un león y dos tigres. George es chico uno. Él es muy interesante. Es más interesante que Chuck Norris. Soy chico dos. No soy muy interesante. ¿Soy una chica? No, no soy una chica. Qué ridículo. Qué ridículo. ¿Soy yo una mujer? No, no soy una mujer. Yo soy un chico. Chuck Norris es chico número 3. Chico 3. Él es interesante, pero George es más interesante. Es verdad. Es verdad. Verdad. Sí, sí, sí. Verdad. 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 Es verdad. George es más interesante que Chuck Norris. Es increíble. Sí, increíble. Hay un elefante importante e interesante. El elefante importante está en Tuscaloosa. Big Al es un elefante importante. Es el amigo de Nick Saban. Nick Saban es el entrenador famoso de la Universidad de Alabama en Tuscaloosa. Big Al es la mascota. Hay dos más mascotas en Alabama. En Auburn hay un tigre importante. El tigre es Abby. Abby es interesante, pero Big Al es más interesante. Perro, 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 whoopsie daisy, perro. Big Al es más interesante. Abby es interesante, pero Big Al es más interesante. ¿Por qué? Because es un elefante. Abby no es un amigo de Nick Saban. Abby es el amigo de Chuck Norris, CCC. Y también, I didn't put this in the writing, but hay una mascota en Florence, Alabama. Es un león. Roar. León. Roar. El león es Leo 3. Leo 3. Y hay un tigre en el estado de Louisiana. El tigre es Mike. Miguel. Miguel es un tigre muy interesante. Mike es el amigo de Ed Ogeron. Ed Ogeron. Sí, sí, sí. Hay una mujer interesante y famosa. Ella es la princesa Diana. Princesa Diana es muy importante. Sí, sí, sí. Ella es más importante que Big Al y Chuck Norris. Fin. Fin. The end. All right, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to just do a quick translation of this reading into our native tongue for most of us, which is English. If I could go to the top of the page, maybe I'll just get rid of this pen thing. What I do back, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we're just going to go with the mouse. There we go. All right, what do we have here? So remember, this is only, you don't have to listen to the translation, but you can if it would be good for you to do so. If there's any ambiguity. So we have, there are 3 guys, boys, and a woman. There is an elephant, a lion, and 2 tigers. Chuck is boy 1. He is very interesting. He is more interesting than Chuck Norris. I am boy too. I'm not very interesting. Am I a girl? No, I'm not a girl. How ridiculous. Am I a woman? No, I'm not a woman. I'm a boy. I'm a guy. Chuck Norris is boy number 3. He is interesting, but, so this pero, P-E-R-O, means but. George is more interesting. Es verdad. It's true. It's true. Verdad. George is more interesting than Chuck Norris. It's incredible. There's an important and interesting elephant. Now, notice here. Now, this is, this is, this A means and the reason it's not a Y is because this word interesante begins with the E sound. That's why it's A, but don't worry about it. If you have a Y here, life goes on, right? But that happens. So if the word starts with an I and you have an and in front of it, it's going to be this E, and it's going to mean and. The important elephant is in Tuscaloosa. Big Al is an important elephant. He is the friend of Nick Saban. Nick Saban is the famous coach of the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Big Al is the mascot. Now, the word mascota also means pet. So, it means pet, or I believe it can mean mascot as well. I don't think there's another word for mascot than mascota. So, it's also pet. There are 2 more mascots in Alabama. In Auburn, there is an important tiger. The tiger is Aubie. Aubie is interesting, but Big Al is more interesting. ¿Por qué? Because. So ¿por qué means why. See how I made a Y? And ¿por qué is because. So if somebody asks ¿por qué?, a lot of times you get ¿por qué?, back, because ¿por qué? Why? ¿Por qué? Because. Now, if you see ¿por qué? Written out for why, it's got a space here and there's an accent mark over the E. Great. So Aubie is not a friend of Nick Saban. Aubie is the friend of Chuck Norris. And then I spoke about the lion, Leo the lion in Florence, but I didn't put it on this reading. There's a tiger in the state of Louisiana. The tiger is Mike. Mike is a very interesting tiger. Going to the last paragraph. There's a woman who is an interesting and famous woman. She is Princess Diana. Princess Diana is very important. She is more important than Big Al and Chuck Norris. Some people would argue with that, but that's what we have so far. And then I wrote the word fiend here, fiend, which means the end. You see that at the movies and such, at the end of a movie and those kind of things, like the end there. All right. If you have any questions, you can ask at some point in time. But that's the readings are really good to help you get the Spanish in your brain a little bit too. So reading them over and over is not a bad idea. Just a suggestion, and I appreciate everybody in the class, and it's really a joy to teach each one of you. And I hope you have a good week, and I hope to see you Monday. And if you've got a new person that doesn't have a lot of Spanish, um, I've got ways to catch them up. Um, but so if you have a new person that comes in, I have a method of kind of catching them up with a series of videos, which are found on YouTube, which are it's called Blaine Ray Class 4, TPRS, Blaine Ray Class 4, TPRS. I'm watching all of those videos. So if you go through and watch a couple of those videos, it's kind of, their story is a little bit different, but a lot of the techniques you're seeing there, I'm incorporating in the class. And there's several teachers that are teaching that one online class. And again, they have a lot. It takes a while. It took them. I hope to move a little bit faster on the story than what they have done, but it's a good. That whole class is actually pretty good to watch. It's called Blaine Ray, Blaine Ray Class 4. I think it's called TPRS. He has several versions of the class online, and I'm using their material in class currently. So that's a way, if you have a friend that you want to invite, but they're like, I don't know Spanish at all, then they could catch up. And if you want to reinforce your Spanish, that's a good way to do it. But it's nothing quite like being in a live class. It takes a lot of patience sometimes if you're not actually in a class. So it was a online class that Blaine and a few other teachers that work with him did. But that's about what we have for today. And I know this video is too long, but if you watched it to the end, that's fine too. So that's about it. And it's officially my bedtime. That's the 9 o'clock bell. So I gotta go. Thank you so much. We're going to end the recording here. Okay.